Hi, I'm Rob from Automated by the Global Society, and welcome to today's video, which is all about the different types of actions you can implement using campaigns in Ontraport. This is a fantastic set of functionality and features that is going to absolutely revolutionize the way that you work. So let's dive right in. Okay, so let's get started on this. Of course, let's start by logging into our Ontraport campaign. And inside my Ontraport campaign, as we were looking at in the last video, we want to jump into this dummy campaign that we're starting to build. And you can see the different statuses, the different triggers that we've currently got on here. Now, what I want to do in today's video is start to see look at this what happens next stage. So this what happens next stage is really interesting. And basically, the way to think about this is that this is a very logical progression of steps as we're building out what we want to have happen one thing after the next. So in this case, you'll remember in the last video, we actually set up a trigger so that when experience status is updated, and that experience status is equal to accepted, this experience record gets pulled onto this campaign from elsewhere. Now we have to decide what happens next. And when I click on this what happens next, you'll see that I get presented with a whole series of different actions that I can undertake. I can send an email to that experience. That student, remember, a student undertakes an experience overseas. So I can send an email to that student's experience, whichever email address they've dropped in there. I can update that experience record, so I can change the value of any field inside that experience record. I can change the tags. That means I can add and remove different tags on that experience record inside this campaign without actually having to do anything. I can assign a task. And assigning tasks is a fantastic way to make sure that nothing is overlooked. So let's say that every student needs to be provided with a Centrelink letter when students have progressed to a certain point. This campaign could be sending them emails, following them up with things, making sure that things are being done, and then boom, we're ready to send them a Centrelink letter. So it actually assigns a task to me to create that letter for the student. I never have to remember to do my work anymore. The system will simply tell me what needs to be done and when. Goals we're going to come back to. Waits are very interesting. Waits basically allow us to decide how long we want to wait for before we take the next action. So some time to pass. Do we want to wait for a specific date to arrive? Do we want to wait until a day relative to that student's date field? So in this case, 22 days before the start date of that student's overseas study experience. That's pretty powerful, isn't it? Just wait, nothing happens until 22 days before the start date of that student's experience, and then boom, this series of actions will continue. Other things that we can have happen in there, you'll see if I click on actions, we have other things that we can do. We can add students to other campaigns, or we can add records to other campaigns. We can remove them from other campaigns. We can send them SMSs. We can add them to fulfillment lists. Now, fulfillment lists, you'll recall, are reports. So I can actually set up different reports that will trigger and send that report to whoever I want. I can send it to myself. I can send it to anyone that's got an email address automatically. So fulfillment lists are a fantastic way to automate reporting. We have filters. So filters are things where we can, and I'm going to dive into each of those in a little bit more detail, but filters are where we can create, for example, split testing, like send half the students this email message and half the students that email message, and I can see which email message is most effective. Go-tos allow us to join bits and pieces together. So if I want to wait until 22 days before the start date and then adds the student to a fulfillment list, and then they hit this go-to and they just loop back around. So you think about reminders. Send an email, wait a week, go-to, loops them back around and sends them another email, wait a week, loop them around. You can just constantly follow up with people, which is kind of scary. Let me just hit delete and get rid of this one. And then the advanced one, we're not going to look at so much, but this is stuff that automated will work on. So for example, when we are doing our deep code work, where we're going to absolutely optimize your system and your work processes for you, these are things where we're sending code automatically and sending information out of Ontraport automatically in order to run really sophisticated integrations. It's a very powerful stuff. So let's start just look at this actually. When you delete something on a campaign, you can choose to either delete only the item or delete everything below it. So let me just delete everything below. Boom, it's all gone. The same is also true if, for example, I have a series of steps. So let's say it's like a series of waits and then a series of emails. So this is like emails going out. You see this little handle here. I can actually grab that and drag it across to another point on my map. And then I get options. Am I only moving this item? Am I moving this item and everything that's underneath it? Am I creating a copy of this item? Or am I creating a copy of this item and everything underneath? Let's do that. That's the most exciting. Boom. I have just literally duplicated one of my workflows. So if you have something that you want to have happen for one set of students, and then a slightly different set of students, you want to have a slightly different series of actions, you just copy it across and then update the timings or the email content or what have you. So very, very powerful sort of functionality there. So we've looked at very quickly, the fact that we've got waits. We can wait for some time to pass. So when, if we look at this in context, I'm just going to delete this out so this is a little bit clearer. The student, in this case, the experience object, the experience record is updated, and the status is updated to accepted. And you can see here it says experience status is updated. I can actually update this text here to accepted, to add even more information there to make it really intuitive to understand exactly what is happening at this step. We're going to wait a certain period of days, wait seven days, and then I can add information. I'm going to wait 7 days before sending the acceptance email. Done. So inside this stage, you can actually add notes that explain why you are doing particular things, and that's really good practice. So 7 days later, I'm going to send an email. And here, I can choose the email that I want to send. So let's just pick any one, and it'll tell me which message. And once again, I can update my description. So send the initial acceptance email to students. Experience record. Done. Then what I want to have happen? Well, I want to wait for some more time to pass. I want another 3 days to pass. And then I want to send another email, which might be like a reminder. I'm sure we've got a reminder here. Send student a reminder. And I can go on and on and on. And this is one of the most common forms of campaign, very sequential and linear, where it's essentially like something triggers this record onto the campaign. Wait a period of time, send an email, wait a period of time, send an email, wait a period of time. Update a record and add a tag. So, we might wait another 7 days. And then we may add a tag that says, not responsive, not responding. That they didn't attend acceptance, so with withdrawing. So you can automatically have the system add information when, for example, a student's progressing down here and they haven't actually done what they need to. You can automatically have the system change tags, add fields, etc. Very, very powerful stuff. So this is a very common form of campaign. And then maybe we want to be a little bit more sophisticated. So we want two things to happen at once. So I'm going to add a filter where I'm going to do a fork. Now, fork is a really nice functionality. Fork is where like a student is dropping down or a record is dropping down a campaign, and then boom, I want two separate things to start happening. Based on the step. I hit this point and I want to split and I want to send them down two separate paths. So I might want to send an email on this track. And on this track, I might want to wait a period of time and then send, then assign a task. And here, so you can see I'm just kind of plonking things in pretty quickly. But you can see that by splitting my workload, I can have two separate things happening at once that are both interrelated. Now, this is really nice. Let's say you want to come back and add something to your campaign later. You can just hover in this space in between, and once again, you can add a new item. Or, as we looked at earlier on, maybe I want to drag this tag functionality, and I want to drag that higher up, and I want to just move it there. All of those things are possible and are very, very powerful. So this is where you want to jump in and start playing around with some of the different functionalities. The one thing I haven't really talked about yet are goals, and I will talk about goals in the next video, because that is essentially a way to automatically move students, or records I should say, around a map based on different things that happen. So let's say we send out a series of emails to students and we want them to click on a button that says they accept the terms and conditions. We can actually set up a goal that says, send an email, wait a week, send them a reminder, wait a week, send a reminder, wait a week, send a reminder, wait a week, for as long as you want. But once the student opens that email and clicks on the link, this goal is achieved, and stop sending them all of these reminders and bring them down to this point at the bottom of the map and move them here. So we'll look at goals in more detail in the next video. The last thing you need to remember is that before you can publish this campaign, you have to do this thing which is called an endpoint. So essentially we need to drop these endpoints at the bottom of all of our active streams. And what I'm going to do is add a go-to here, so it doesn't matter. This is basically the generic trigger. Basically anything adds this person to the campaign, they get dropped there. Rather than triggering off a specific condition. So this is like a form adds them, or I manually add them. That's how they end up at this particular spot. So we put a go-to. And all of these streams, if you like, need to have an endpoint. And there is one piece of good practice that is really important to remember. Before any endpoint, always add a wait. Okay, I'll say that again. Before any endpoint, always add a wait that just says wait for forever. Why do we do that? We do that because if later on I want to come back and update this campaign in some way, all of my records are kind of working their way through this campaign and they hit this wait point and they don't go any further because they're waiting for forever. Let's say I want to send another couple of emails. I change my mind, I want to send some more emails. It's really hard to reactivate records once they hit an endpoint. It's not impossible. You can do it by adding tags and you can do it. But if they're just sitting on a wait and I come back here later, all I have to do is then click on this, send another email, wait some more time, send another email, you get the idea, wait a period of time. And in order to reactivate the records that are sitting on that wait period, all I need to do is change that from forever to some time passes. And just say, if anyone's been sitting here for like 3 days or more, let's get them moving again. I hit save, and all those records that are sitting on that wait point suddenly get reactivated, and they get sent the next message, and they wait, and sent the next message, and they wait. So dropping in that wait forever before dropping in an endpoint is really critical. Always hit save, and in this case, that's as far as I'm going to go in this video. In the next video, we're going to look at goals, which is super exciting. So stay tuned for that one. Have a great day, whatever you're getting up to, and I'll see you next time in the automated training program. See you later.